All right, back for another beer review, and today I'll be reviewing yet another beer from the new Trail Brewing Company, and they're out of Williamsport, Pennsylvania, and this is their Modern West Coast number 14. So they're calling this one Experimental and Rotating IPA. That comes in at 7% alcohol by volume. No IBUs listed in time of review. I don't know exactly how old this can is, but it was given to me by a very good friend of mine and a viewer of the channel, Justin. So huge thanks to him for this beer. In the description box, I'll post a link to the beer haul video I did that contains all the goodies he hooked me up with, and he gave me a case of beer, 11 of which were New Trail. And this is one of them. So this is apparently exclusive to the variety pack that Justin gave me, 2 of each beer. So I think the variety pack comes with their Gearhead Hazy Pale Ale, which I reviewed, their Broken Hills and Double Broken Hills, which I did a comparison review of, and this one. And number 14, they have a little QR code. It didn't work for me, but I did look up what number 14 is supposed to entail. And basically, because they call this one a Modern West Coast, experimental and rotating IPA, it's supposed to be like a modern twist on a West Coast IPA. And this specific version has Mosaic Citra and Ekuanot hops, so I thought that was pretty cool. Now, I don't know how old it is, like I said, but Justin was pretty confident that the variety pack he picked up was pretty fresh, so I would say probably no older than a couple months old. Anyway, let's get in the glass. So I'm looking for like a relatively clear looking beer to some degree, hopefully. Okay, this one is fizzing up. So it was friend of mine and viewer of the channel, Chris, who said that like all of their beers pour out with crazy heads, and kind of noticing that, especially this one. I didn't pour it all aggressive, and the head is fucking absurd. So I don't know what's up with that, but again, these were kept cold the entire time, so I guess I won't pour any more in, and we'll just try to figure out what we're doing here. As look at that head. Again, not an aggressive pour, just went nuts. So yeah, that has that modern West Coast look to it. So it looks, honestly, this kind of looks like, I always like to say like an old school like Vermont IPA. It has, I can see all the particulates. They're suspended in animation. I can see it at the base here, right? Everywhere. But it has that like bright orange, kind of honey orange color. Kind of looks like an old school West Coast, but somewhat hazy and murky, right? So modern West Coast, sure. Has about a 3 finger of, at least my fingers, 3 fingers of this off-white, eggshell white, kind of soap sudsy looking head. It's now starting to kind of go away somewhat, but it's kind of sticking around. So yeah, is that a modern West Coast IPA? Sure, let's get a nose. Yeah, so it smells like an actual West Coast. Huge, like grapefruit rind zest. I'm getting like tangerine or like an orange juiciness to it, but more like grapefruit. A little bit of like an I wanted to say melon, even though I'm not smelling melon. For some reason, I want to say it. Underlying like a caramel kind of bready malt character. There's I cannot speak today. I can't speak most days, but I was going to say resinous pine, and I was going to say peasantous rind. Peasantous rind, yeah. Is that like Optimus Prime? What the fuck? What's wrong with me? Anyway, honestly, this smells more like an straight old school West Coast IPA. Maybe a little bit of that like orange tangerine juice is kind of producing more of like the new school vibe, but I think if I was doing this blind, I'd say, yeah, this is like a old school West Coast, maybe an old school Vermont, maybe even just an old school East Coast IPA. A little bit of like a floral kind of component too. Yeah, so grapefruit, you're talking about grapefruit zest, grapefruit rind, grapefruit pith. Then there's like a sweeter like orange tangerine juice. Resinous pine, floral, bready caramel kind of malt character. Yeah, it smells pretty good. It smells like it's going to be pretty refreshing and tasty, so let's get into it. Cheers, everybody, and thanks again, Justin. It's a West Coast IPA. It's nice, though. It's a nice West Coast IPA. Here's where it differs for me right off the get-go. The body on this one, medium-bodied, 7% fine. The mouthfeel is very akin, despite like the huge head and looking like it has a ton of carbonation. This honestly, see if I can pour this in without going crazy here. See if it generates a crazy head. No, we're fine. The mouthfeel is more akin to, it's kind of like when I had like a Hop Foo from North Park, where again, that's like a modern take on a West Coast IPA. It has a way better, or like Pliny the Elder. It has, to me, more of a soft, smooth kind of mouthfeel to it. So tip of the tongue, that carbonation hits, but on the back of the, like the second half of the palate, it softens up a bit and is very smooth and almost slightly creamy. So I'd say, to me, what I'm getting from the modern style of, or the modern take on this style, is the mouthfeel is more like akin to like a New England style IPA. Maybe not to that level, but just, you know, it's definitely different than a regular West Coast IPA. The taste, though, it's like 90% of West Coast IPA. There's a ton of grapefruit at the front of the palate. Again, it has the grapefruit zest, the rind, the pith, not really a juiciness. A little bit of like an orange tangerine juice, like I said, in the nose. Maybe like a kind of a underripened peach too, which I didn't get in the nose. That kind of hits at the forefront. So again, maybe a little bit of a modern take on the style. Right after that, though, as it passes through, I'm hit with this bready caramel malt sensation, and it dives underneath the palate. So about, say, a third of the way through the palate, the malt hits me, but then it dives underneath. And what's riding above that are those, you know, fruity characters, the grapefruit, pretty much a citrus. But then it's stopped in its tracks by like this floral, resinous pine bitterness on the back of the palate. This doesn't have a big dryness, but it has a moderate bitterness. And while it has a nice, sweet, malty, juicy kind of forefront to it, it balances out on the back of the palate. Now that I say that, though, let me take it back. It's more semi-dry. I'm sitting here taking each sip. There's a little bit of a dryness building up. It's not huge, but it's definitely more semi-dry than I said, like a mild dry. It's more semi-dry. Yeah, this is, to me, a West Coast IPA at heart, or at its soul, it's a West Coast IPA, but it has nuances and slight characteristics of like some of the newer school hop forward beers. That little you know, underripened peach, a little bit of more of a juiciness, not maybe as bitter as an old school West Coast IPA. But I really dig this. This is good. Yeah, it's pretty damn good. Is it amazing? No, but I enjoy it. So Modern West Coast at number 14, the number 14 on the side there, just in case you're wondering where does it say number 14, it says on the side right above the QR code. They're Experimental and Rotating IPA. I have no problems giving this, and I've been doing this with a lot of New Trail, but I'm going to give this a straight 4 out of 5. It's not amazing, but for what it is, it's damn solid, I think. So yeah, pretty good, 7%. You really can't feel it at all. I mean, maybe a slight warming in the chest, but not much, and it's 7%, so you don't expect anything on the palate. Price point availability, this is where I really like New Trail stuff, at least from like their core offerings or this variety pack. So this is exclusively in the variety pack that Justin gave to me. As I said before, it's Gearhead Hazy Pale, I think that's 5.1%. Broken Hills, which is 7% hazy IPA, and then Double Broken Hills, which is 9.2% double IPA, and this. So you get two 7% beers, you get a 9.2% beer and a 5.1% beer. It comes in 12 packs, and it's $21.99 for the 12 pack. Even if it was like $24, $25, you're talking around $2 a can, or just under if it's around 22. For a 7% beer that is this good, like that would be a staple in my fridge. Like I would buy it if I wanted to, you know, have something that was hop forward and enjoyable and that it was local, especially if I was in Williamsport or anywhere in PA. Like that's a great price for a variety pack that is pretty quality. I've had all 4 of them now, and my favorite is the Double Broken Hills, and then the Broken Hills, then this, then the Gearhead, but all of them got at least a 3.9, and the highest was the Double Broken Hills, which I think I gave a 4.4 to, or maybe a 4.5. But regardless, really good variety pack. I'm happy that Justin was able to give me a bunch of New Trail stuff. I've been hearing great things about them over the years, so being able to try this many beers, awesome. Availability, pretty sure it's in PA, maybe a bit into New Jersey, maybe some surrounding states. We don't see them here in Western New York, but outside of that, I know you can get them if you go to PA. So not much more to say about it. If you've had this one before, or any within the Modern West Coast series, let me know. Let me know what's your favorite, like if you had a bunch within the series. Again, this is exclusive in that variety pack, so I've only had the 14. Justin or anybody else, if you've had other within the series, was this better than those? Were those better than this one? I'd be curious to know. So anyway, appreciate everybody stopping by for another beer review here on the Beer Patrol. To the next one. Cheers.